So you've got a real great chance there.
Hello and welcome back to the Red and White Review. With myself to review the game yesterday, we again have Dave Child, Burton fan. Dave, excluding the game, how are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm obviously very happy with last night, and probably more so than you guys. There we are.
And Robert, you good?
I've been better. It was a frustrating game yesterday, to say the least.
Well, we're going to get onto the game, of course, and talk about it in detail. Robert, I'll go to you first. Was 1-1 a fair reflection?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we were dreadful, and with Burton, they took their chances, and we chose not to. So, yeah, and it was a right decision for Parkinson to be sacked as well as the other day. So frustrating.
Yeah, I was going to get on to Parkinson a bit later on. Dave, do you think a 1-1 was a fair reflection of the game?
You know what? I just want to congratulate Robert, who is the best tipster that I've come across in the last 3 or 4 days. Anyway, he said 1-1. You were right, and to be perfectly honest, I would have took 1-1 all day long. To get a point up at your place in our current situation is fantastic. So I said 2-1 because I could, and because it got a great reaction. Did I think we could win 2-1? I thought we might have snuck it. But yeah, 1-1's great. I thought we were going to hang on for the 1-0. And I tell you what, it's a controversial thing to say. Had fans been allowed in other words, had we not got this COVID situation, Sunderland would have lost the game because of you fans. You'd have been on to the guy. And they'd have thrown. And we'd have won. So there you go. We couldn't hang on. We scored that goal on the hour. And because of the pressure you were putting on, yes, you deserve to get a goal. Momentary lapse from our guys. Good finish from Mr. Power, who does that sort of thing quite well. Yeah, he hit the post, frame of the goal, few other chances. But 1-1, yeah, we're very happy with that. And you're back to your chances again. We took ours, you took yours. And you have the ball for the rest of the game. We're not bothered, really. You're not going to hurt us. And that's how it works.
Well, unfortunately, my prediction of 3-1 was way off the mark. Would you say, Robert, I'm going to ask you first. Would you say that Sunderland were overall a slightly better team? I wouldn't say we're dominated, but I think we had control of the game for the most part.
I do think, at least in the first half, I think we were better, but it's once again about taking our chances, and we are not doing that, and it's clearly constantly punishing us. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate at the moment.
Same to you, Dave. Do you think we were the slightly better team or not?
Yeah, well, you were the better team, I suppose, in terms of possession. When you look at the stats, first half 70-30, exactly the same in the second half. We're quite happy for you to have the ball because you weren't hurting us with it. Yeah, more cross. No, you weren't.
We weren't.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That's it. Food and drink all night long, and then Charlie White went off. You've lost your aerial threat pretty much. And, that was it. So you with the ball, you've got the ball, but you're not going to hurt us. How many saves did our keeper make? 2. You're better in the second half, but, you've just not got an end product at the minute. You're not scoring very well. And we can always nick a goal. And that's exactly what we did. We nicked a goal.
Yeah, I think you make a fair point, though, of creativity there, where even at the best of times, we tend to, even when we have plenty of possession, we tend to lack a player who can create a chance or even create himself a chance out of nothing. Obviously, one player who I've mentioned quite a lot on this show recently has been Aidan McGee. Yeah, I'm not going to get into him today. On that note, Robert, could you work out what the formation was? I spent all night trying to figure out what it was.
I have not got a clue, to be honest. It looked at least 5 at the back, and then up front, it was just all over the place. It was a shambles, and with O'Nien and White getting an injury as well, so that's increasingly frustrating for us. So hopefully it's not a long-term injury for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we struggled to create a chance last night because we didn't have anyone on the pitch who's really capable of doing it. Obviously, with Gooch being injured, that's a huge blow. But then you also look at Maguire, who wasn't even playing. I don't know if anything was wrong with Maguire, but I can't say why he came on towards the end, and personally, I think we started to create more chances. One thing I noticed in particular, I don't know if you would agree with us here, that we seem to we were attacking them a bit differently, I thought, whereas especially so far this season, we've always just went out wide, and teams have figured us out when we went out wide and tried to create chances out there. We did all say that when Maguire came on, we actually had an element of a plan B, because it was quite central, but he seemed to be stretching the defence quite well. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I've got to say, the fact as well, Embleton started, I was optimistic, because Parkinson, he would not have given him the opportunity. So that's good.
Yeah. Dave, to bring it back in there, obviously I would imagine 1-1, you are certainly quite happy with that result. Where do you think the game went right for Burton?
Well, it went right for Burton as much as we were organised. The lads showed plenty of endeavour. We closed you down quickly, forced you wide, and dealt with the crosses when they did come in. And when Charlie White went off, I thought you were more of a threat with Danny Graham, as he had a problem with his barber. He never had that much hair. But, obviously lockdowns affected him, and his barber must be shut.
Yeah, mine's not ideal either.
Is it dangerous? Yeah. But he's a dangerous player. I thought he looked a better team with him on the pitch. Whilst he's not got the greatest aerial threat, he makes dangerous runs behind the defender, and he's a different animal to deal with, especially when we've got two big centre halves, as you can see, in Sam Hughes and Bothwick. So there you go. But I thought we dealt with it pretty well. Then we got the chance to break. The two players I spoke about, Ryan Edwards and Charles Verdham, and obviously to a lesser extent, young Joe with the shot that was spilled by Remy Matthews, who was once at
don't remind us.
Oh, he's a lovely lad, and I like him even more now.
It makes me wonder why Lee Burge has been dropped, because he had an injury, I think, 3 games ago, and then since then he's not been in the team. So there's potentially still got it, but who knows? Yeah, it's just frustrating, really.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Danny Graham there, a player I've been called to come in and give him a good chance in the team. And yesterday was a perfect opportunity for him to come in and do something, albeit maybe the service wasn't great. I mean, one thing I was going to mention was, to me, it seemed 3-4-3 or 5-2-3, however you want to call it. But the front three seemed to be obviously the striker, then Josh Scowen and Elliot Embleton. Now, you're playing a striker, a holding midfielder, and a midfielder who I rate, but he's still only a young lad and doesn't look incredible yet. How can you expect Danny Graham, a player, a lot of people have been criticising him, I would say, how can you expect him to actually perform and come across in a good way when he's playing next to a defensive midfielder and a really inexperienced attacking midfielder? Robert, are you thinking along the same lines as us?
Yeah, it's true, to be fair, but I think whoever the manager is now, if he's choosing to play a one striker formation, and with White out at the moment, it's the matter of who's going to start. Is it going to be Grigg or Graham? So yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. If we were going to play one striker, two striker, if you could choose who plays up front, how many plays up front, who would it be?
Truthfully, I'd just say stick them both up front, because I don't think we're like attacking teams as much, and even though they're not on good form, I think we have better chance scoring having 2 on the field compared to having 1 on the field.
But, so just extra numbers up there, and
yeah, essentially at this point.
Might get Will Grigg to score a goal, although I think anything is highly unlikely. To do that, one player, another Sunderland player in particular. And I'm gonna ask you on this as well. I'll go to Robert first. Max Power. I don't know who officially got man of the match, but a lot of people say to give it to him. Player who I've highly criticised a lot. I don't think he really offers us much. Got the goal, of course. Excluding the goal, how did you rate his performance, Robert?
He was definitely one of the better players, to be honest, but it was not too hard, so I've got to say. So solid, I think 7 or 8 out of 10, I've got to say.
Well, I think if I was to rate Max Power as 7 or 8, that's the highest he's getting off me. Dave, as an opposition fan?
Well, certainly, I thought Max Power did okay, to be perfectly honest. And what a big improvement when you took Flanagan off. Oh, you lifted the team enormously then, didn't you, really? Only joking, Tom. He looks all right in the 3 at the back, if that's the formation that he's playing. I can understand that. Going back to what you're worried about with your one forward, we don't have any of those problems, really. We haven't got many anyway. So, Lucas Akins can play anywhere, and it just so happened that that position was vacant last night. He played as the lone striker. And then we brought on John Joe O'Toole, who is, well, we don't know where he plays, to be perfectly honest. He sort of turns up, and we put him on as the lone striker for the final few minutes. He didn't have to fit in with everybody, or anybody, actually, because he is John Joe O'Toole. Nobody can play alongside him. And so he just caused a bit of a nuisance, but yeah, it's nuisance value that he was up there for. But he'd never played centre forward before, and he didn't play for long. And you know what? I don't think he'll play it again. But you've got to look at the league positions, lads. You're beating yourselves up enormously here. You're very nicely placed, just outside the playoffs. One victory, and you're in that little zone.
Not necessarily. Yeah, but have you not seen our recent form, though? I mean, is it now 4 league games out of win?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're shocking and you're still just outside the promotion slots, just think how good it could be if you up your game under a new manager.
I've got to say, one thing Sunderland never take advantage of is when we have games in hand. It's never been good for us at all. It's been dreadful, I've got to say.
Yeah, I was just getting a bit of water there. I mean, yeah, you make a fair point there, Dave, when you say that if all we need is a bit of decent form, and Sunderland tend to go on a very decent form when we get a new manager. Speaking of, obviously a certain someone told me that Gus Poyet was nailed on yesterday.
I don't know what he nailed on to, but it wasn't the Sunderland job, was it really?
It seems at the moment as if Danny Cowley is the front runner for the job. Daniel Stendhal has apparently applied for the job today. A few more names in the mix. Paul Cook's been mentioned, not someone who have said I wouldn't mind having the job. Of course, Poyet fell out with it yesterday. Robert, going on to Parkinson, do you think it was the right time for him to go?
I 100% do. Yeah, he was out of his depth. To be honest, yeah.
What was the turning point for you?
Oh, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago, to be honest.
It's his 10th birthday or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I can't exactly remember when, but it's not been great at the moment. So
I think mine was probably genuinely Fleetwood or Doncaster, the turning point for myself. Like I was more along Dave's thinking, although I think Dave, you just used to having such rubbish football that you're optimistic.
Just hang on, Jack. Still not lost at the Stadium of Light, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, just get that one in.
I was going to get onto that about.
Oh, good. Carry on.
I was seemingly a terrible record against you. But Robert, if you're in charge, who comes in and why?
I don't think we have many options, and I've got to say, I think Cowley, because he suggested publicly he wants the job, I think maybe he is the right man. And I've seen a lot of controversy about him, but the main positives I've seen about him is he's took Lincoln from the National League to League One, and them fans like him. And then when he was in the Huddersfield job, he kept them up. So who knows, really?
I think Cowley definitely brings a lot, something that we could need, and I think he's clearly got experience at turning teams around and building them up,
Definitely.
and taking them up the divisions. But I think it's him also coming out and publicly saying how much he'd want the job. If you've got a manager who wants the job, they're going to be very, very enthusiastic coming into it, which is I think why a lot of people like the idea of Kevin Phillips, because they think that he's going to come in with so much enthusiasm and he'll put 100% in, and you don't have to question that. Obviously, Dave, out of all the names I've mentioned as a fellow League One fan, who do you rate the most out of all of them?
Oh, easily Danny Cowley. I think we said before we played the game last night, lads, a few days back. And the two names that I put forward, I always thought Danny Cowley or Paul Cook were perfect. When you got all excited about Gus Poyet, I'm thinking, what? Have a look where he's managed in recent times. He's not cut out for League One, and he wouldn't soil his hands in League One. And now he's actually come out and said it somewhere along the line. You don't want him. Never go back. Very rare that a manager goes back to a club he's managed previously. Yes, true. We had Nigel Clough, and I'm sorry, I like Nigel Clough. He's a cracking bloke. But he wasn't as popular the second time around. We had him first in 98, and he was with us for 10 years, and he was pretty much instrumental in getting us through the divisions. He didn't win us promotion out of the Confidence, but when he left for Derby County, I think we were 15 points clear at the top. So we limped nicely over the line anyway, and then that was it. Nigel went off and did his Derby County thing, his Sheffield United thing, and so forth. But when he came back the second time, there was a second generation of fan who were certainly riding the crest of a wave because we were winning Division 2 titles and getting out of League One and playing in the Championship. Oh, they were loving it. But they weren't keen on Clough because he was a little bit dour in his setup. He set up not to lose, and that's how it should be sometimes. If you've not got the resources, you've got to work with what you've got, what you can afford, and get results, because football, as you know, is all about results. And that's the key thing here. It's nice to play cracking football. Look at that lot down the road. They think they're going to play wonderful football and get the result. Get a life check, lads. It ain't going to happen. And that's it. You know, I'm sorry. But I think Mr. Potato Head does a very good job, to be perfectly honest. And the fans are not that keen on him, but I think he's doing a damn good job with what he's got. So you need to find a man who can work with the resources you guys have got. We've got to remember the salary caps as well. And I still think you'll have enough, and you'll be there or thereabouts. You can come back to me later in the season and say,
which we will. I was going to say,
yeah,
optimistic for the worst defensive team in the league.
Yeah, but have a look last night. Did we look like the worst team you'd ever played?
No, yeah, I think
no, to be fair.
Yeah, that's it. We were fairly average at times, but the lads put a shift in. We're third bottom in the division, so we're scrabbling for our lives. We'll get out of it. We've cut Jake a bit of slack this week, so not like you. We're going to hang him in up from the town hall clock. None of that. No, we get on with it, Jake. Great win against Charlton. Good point up at Sunderland. 4 points out of 6. Yeah, that's pretty good. If we lose to Crewe at the weekend, we might be head in hands again. But I think the lads are a bit more confident now, so we'll be all right.
I mean, speaking of what's changed at Burton? How have things turned around?
Have they? Well, obviously, managerial change doesn't help. Again, we thought we got a good squad. You need a bigger piece of paper than that, but I'm sure money does play a part. Let's be fair; we've not got the resources of some of the bigger clubs, so you can't pay the wages. And there's a pig going by. Look, there it goes. But I don't know. There's the haves and the have-nots, and we're probably the have-nots. But we're not complaining about it. You know what? As I said the last time out, we're still in the same league, boys.
Absolutely.
We might be in League 2 next year.
To be fair, I can't see Burton going down, to be honest. Like, I can't see it happening in my opinion.
After your 1-1 prediction, I'm going to hang on to that now. But then that's you, Jack.
Let's not talk about the predictions, because mine was wildly off left field from what it actually was. Going forward, Robert, how we were feeling? If we do get a manager in, do you think that it's likely that we're going to turn things around, get automatic promotion, or are you thinking more playoffs?
It's a good question. I think it really depends who comes in, but I've got to continue at the moment saying it looks as if it's going to be a playoff again, and I think that's the most realistic expectation to have, unfortunately.
Better not be.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, hopefully not. It's just a realistic expectation, I feel like, at the moment.
Well, the absolute last place are, well, I mean, not that we'll be going anywhere, but the absolute last place.
It's hell. It's hell, the playoffs.
Honestly, I think I would rate our chances more. It's St James's, or well, actually, we tend to do very well there. I would rate our chances more playing Burton Albion at home than I would.
Yeah, agreed. So,
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Dave, that's what I want to ask you on. Like, how come every single time we play, especially at home, you get away with it?
Well, we can't be getting away with it, Jack. This is gonna hurt, mate. But, I think Robert started off by saying we were awful last night. Well, you're always awful when you play us for some reason, Jack. I don't know why. We must have the Indian player.
When you're playing smaller clubs, you just
when you're playing bigger clubs, you up your game.
That's how you always get a result.
I had a lovely message last night. That really gave it to him. Pity I couldn't have been brought on as a sub. Darren Bent. Oh, no.
What he said?
Yeah, could have done
really?
Yeah. He could have scored on one leg, I think, against your lot. And we signed off like this.
Well, funnily enough, it took a serious individual error from one of our players to do that. So, not sure how you've thought of that one, Dave.
I'm pulling your leg, Jack.
I know you are.
Yes, yes, you have a title at the moment, Jack.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say it. But I have to defend the lads. You know what I mean? You mentioned Tom Flanagan earlier, Dave. I mean, I think he does quite well in a back three. Robert, would you change to a back four now with how flat we look as a back three?
Yes. I've got to say, I think McFadderstein's better than Hume as well. I'm not a fan of Hume at the moment, so hopefully he comes in. And then a lot of fans have been talking about Sanderson to be playing right back.
Definitely.
Yeah, it would appeal to me, to be honest.
I know he picked up his injury last night. It doesn't look good. It looks as like a break or maybe a dislocation, or to me it looked like a disjointed shoulder or something along those lines. Luke O'Nien. If he was to be okay though, where would you play him, Robert? Because personally, I would love to see him in the number 10.
So I'd like to as well. It's just, I think, because he's been playing about right wing back and right back for about a year maybe now. I've got to think. Yeah, like at least a year. So I think he's become more natural to it now. So I think he does suit it. Probably, but I think McLaughlin's better as a centre back, truthfully.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think you broke up a little bit there for me. I don't know if it felt the same.
Oh, all right.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
It's just one of those
things.
Good
to do with it.
Doing it online. Probably Darren Bent's fault.
Yes.
I said someone earlier saying if they were to play at 4 at the back, Conor McLaughlin would be their starting centre back. Now, to me, Conor McLaughlin, the player you mentioned there, has done very well this season, especially as the right side of the back three. Where do you see him going forward? Does he come in and play consistently? Because I think he's earned his chance.
I've got to say, I like him at centre-back. I'm not a fan of him at right wing-back because he's not very fast and stuff like that. But
same.
To be a centre-back, it's a great option at the moment, so I'll take him.
So if we would have somehow fit Luke O'Nien, Conor McLaughlin, Deion Sanderson on the pitch, you'd think Gareth Southgate was the manager with fitting all these right-backs in. about 4 defensive midfielders and about another 3 centre-backs, and that should do us fine.
Yeah.
Dave, who have you got next?
Crewe on Saturday. They were playing very well at the moment, so we'll just have to wait and see. But every game's tricky at the minute. We need points from it, one way or another. We want to try and win our home games, obviously. But we're getting a little bit more confident now. But it's not been the best start. But a couple of wins, and you know what, I think we'll be okay. we'll be out of the woods. But we'll just have to wait and see. But, we're not going to call for the manager's head while things are going okay. We're on a run of defeats, slightly different, but it looks like a run of draws, does it for you guys? You get shot of them when they've had a few draws.
Yeah, it feels like we've got Jack Ross back.
It really does.
Would you say confident going into Saturday, Dave, for 3 points?
Yeah, I think we should be, to be perfectly honest. I thought last night, we all spoke about it, as we got so close with a 1-0, we thought we were going to get a clean sheet. Oh, boy, I could have we haven't had a clean sheet for a year. And I mean a year, not just this season. So, that would have been something else. But you know what? It's fine margins all the time. But, we took our chance last night and hanging on to a 1-0 with the amount of pressure that you're under is quite difficult. But, hey, we lost that goal that we'd sort of put ourselves ahead with. It finished 1-1. Point was pretty decent. So we've got something for our night's work rather than absolutely nothing.
True.
Yeah. Robert, I'm just looking at our fixtures going forward. Obviously, we've got Wigan on Saturday. I was going into the game yesterday, unfortunately, with the mindset of anything less than 3 points is an absolute disaster.
It is.
Yeah, it was. Then going into Wigan, you've got to have the exact same attitude. We've then got an AFL Trophy game, but we've got Lincoln, obviously Lincoln a decent side. That game kind of undermines the point I'm about to make. But then you look at Wimbledon at home, Shrewsbury at home, Blackpool at home, Hull at home, and Accrington away are our fixtures this month. Surely you've got to be looking at a win in almost all of those games, regardless of how our form is. I think if you take Lincoln out of the equation, I would back us to win every single one of those games.
Yeah, to be honest, while in this league, I don't think to not win a single game, it's dreadful alone. I think for Wigan as well, I'm more confident, and I think that's only because of them being quite...
How rubbish they are.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
They're back, mate.
Yeah, so they're, I think, last at the moment, if I'm correct.
Let me make you a promise, man. If you don't beat Wigan and Shrewsbury, I'm going to come back on here and really sort you out.
You're not coming back on, you?
Yeah. If you can't beat Wigan, I'd get rid of the manager, all the players. I'd pull the shopping centre down. It's terrible. Now, come on, you need to beat the teams that are seriously down the bottom and struggling. And Wigan fit into that category. They've got all sorts of problems. The Shrewsbury are better, but they have got Steve Cottrell now as manager. And Steve Cottrell played for Burton Albion.
Yeah, it looks like Wigan are expecting a takeover soon as well. Yes, that's interesting.
Hopefully, obviously, I've got a Wigan fan coming on for the preview show tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll be doing that. That'll be up at some point tomorrow. Should I say it tomorrow anymore? But and hopefully they can speak a bit more about their club. It's definitely something I want to speak about in that. But hopefully Wigan do get a takeover. We've been there ourselves where I think we're in a similar situation right now with owners. Not as bad, of course, but when you've got owners who you feel as if aren't treating you correctly, it's a horrible feeling. You start to wonder what's going to happen to your football club. Just had a look at Wigan's form there. Played 14, won 2, drew 2, lost 10. So that's going to now change to drew 2, lost 10. Because it'll almost undoubtedly be a 1-1 draw.
No, it's really got in his head, haven't we now? It's gone now, Jack. It's gone. On to the next
it's not going to. It's every week, Dave.
It's all of
the league table
all the time. It's all the time.
I've seen a statistic earlier, and I think it said something about a third of our games since we came down to League One have been a 1-1 draw.
It's been mad, honestly. It's been shocking.
It's not a loss. Yeah, not a win. If you can turn draws into wins, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
It will.
It won't.
Have faith.
We need the manager to be able to hopefully have that planned. So hopefully.
Now, let's tell you, if you get Danny Cowley, you guys won't be picking the team like you do every week. He don't take any notice of folk picking teams. He'll pick who he wants, and he'll
Good.
doesn't do any ranting or raving. He just gets on with it, and he's got his brother with him as well. So the only thing that rants them pair, but they'll just get on with the job, and it'll be
yeah. Speaking of Dave, are you confident of Burton going forward? Where he's going to finish this season?
Well, I have to say that we are probably ruling out the playoffs.
Really?
Yes.
God, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, no. Yeah, you okay, Robert? You're still on the chair. Yeah.
It's extremely optimistic. Optimistic, I like it.
I don't think we're going to get the playoffs. We've decided to give somebody else a chance. So...
Is that us?
It can be. It doesn't go to a nicer club. So our place in the playoffs this year is going to go to Sunderland, and I'm passing it over now. So
we don't want it.
You're having it. You're having it.
I hate the playoffs. You please.
Okay, you can just miss out then by one place.
It's me, fine.
Yeah,
myself by one place and get
I want to be in the middle of the table. Mid-table mediocrity.
Yeah, so I expect that. I expect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see the same, but more thinking about the Premier League above anything else. And on that note, that wraps up the Red and White review of the day. A big thank you to both Dave and Robert for coming on. Two great guests as per. Join me tomorrow where I will be previewing the Wigan game with Tom White from Sunderland and a Wigan fan, I believe his name is Dan Whittle, I believe, who's got his own podcast as well. So hopefully that'll be just as good an episode as this has been. Please remember to like the video, share it if you've enjoyed it. Trying to hit 150 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a big ask, but we're brilliant to get there. Thanks for watching, everyone.